Casinos are full of bright lights, familiar sounds, and machines designed to make you feel like a win is just one spin away. But behind all that excitement are games engineered to drain your bankroll faster than you realize. Today, we're breaking down the most punishing, most misleading, and most cleverly designed traps on the casino floor. The ones experts say you should avoid no matter what. If you want to keep your money longer and steer clear of the worst odds in the building, this list is your roadmap. Machine number 1, Kitty Glitter. At first glance, Kitty Glitter looks like one of those harmless, old-school slots that's been sitting on casino floors since forever. Cute symbols, calm visuals, nothing flashy enough to raise suspicion. But that simplicity is exactly what makes this machine so deceptive. While most modern slots expose their features front and center, Kitty Glitter hides its biggest danger where almost nobody bothers to check: the machine's internal RTP spread. The same game title, the same reels, same graphics, same friendly cats, can behave completely differently depending on which cabinet you've sat down at. IGT released Kitty Glitter in multiple generations, and each version allows casinos to choose from a wide range of return-to-player settings. And wide range isn't an exaggeration. Some cabinets run as low as 85%, while others on the opposite end of the spectrum sit close to 96%. That's an 11% difference in long-term payback on a machine that looks absolutely identical from the front. The danger comes from the fact that casinos rarely place the better-paying versions where most players naturally gravitate. The older, lower RTP cabinets tend to get moved into quieter corners, places seniors and longtime regulars drift into because they prefer slots that feel familiar. These older units usually have button panels that look slightly more dated or screens that aren't as bright as the newer installations. The game appears the same, but the math running underneath is significantly tighter. And here's the catch. You cannot judge Kitty Glitter by its appearance. Two machines side by side may look interchangeable, but each one could be running a completely different approved configuration. The only reliable clue is a tiny model or cabinet ID plate attached to the front or side. That small code connects directly to the machine's certified percentage options, the options the casino selected when installing it. Most players never even glance at it, and casinos count on that. This is why Kitty Glitter is so risky. You're not just dealing with basic slot volatility, you're dealing with a game that has multiple possible identities, and only one of them gives you a fighting chance. Sit down at the wrong cabinet, and you're playing a version designed to extract more from your bankroll while offering far less in return. If you're going to play it at all, take 5 seconds before inserting money. Look for the cabinet ID, check the denomination, and choose the newest version in the area, rather than the older, dusty-looking one tucked against the wall. On Kitty Glitter, those small differences change everything. It's one of the few slots where the title doesn't tell you the real story. The hardware does. Machine number 2, Five Dragons. Five Dragons is one of those machines that feels harmless at first. Bright colors, smooth animations, familiar Asian-style symbols. But underneath all that visual comfort sits one of the most effective psychological traps ever used in a mainstream slot: the engineered near miss. This game is built around a simple illusion: the idea that you're just one symbol away from triggering something huge. But what most players don't realize is that Five Dragons doesn't just show near misses, it exaggerates them on purpose. Whenever you land 2 bonus icons and the third doesn't appear, the machine milks the moment. The reels slow down, the lights flicker, the screen lingers a bit too long on that empty spot where the final symbol should have landed. It's not a coincidence, it's gameplay psychology. The purpose is straightforward: keep you convinced that you're close even when you're not. The designers built these dramatic pauses to trigger anticipation and frustration at the same time. 2 emotions that make players spin longer than they intended. You walk away thinking, "I was so close," when in reality the math behind the machine hasn't budged an inch. Every spin has the exact same odds, no matter how dramatic the last one looked. What makes Five Dragons especially risky is that the bonus symbol frequency is designed to create the perfect storm. You see enough almost hits to stay hopeful, but not enough actual triggers to stay profitable. Older players are especially vulnerable because they grew up in an era where mechanical reels made near misses feel genuine, a natural byproduct of physical limitations. Five Dragons, on the other hand, manufactures them deliberately, using digital timing to sell the illusion of momentum. And here's the detail most players never notice: not every near miss you see is real. On many versions, the game plays a fake near-miss animation, even when the third symbol wasn't mathematically close at all. The machine simply presents the spin in a way that feels dramatic, even though the RNG decided the outcome long before the reel started moving. If you enjoy the entertainment value, that's fine, but you need to recognize the trap for what it is. Don't chase the bonus because the game feels like it's heating up. Don't assume two symbols mean the third is more likely to drop. And don't let the slow-motion theatrics trick your brain into believing you're on the brink of a big win. The safest mindset on Five Dragons is simple. An almost win is still a complete loss, no matter how flashy it looks. Machine number 3, Lightning Link. Lightning Link is one of the flashiest machines on any casino floor. Bright, loud, impossible to miss. And that's exactly the problem. The game is designed to pull players in fast, then drain bankrolls even faster with a combination of heavy volatility and a pay table that quietly punishes anyone who isn't betting at the top level. Most players sit down thinking they can spin casually on a minimum bet and still have a shot at the grand or even the major. But Lightning Link hides its biggest condition in small text. The top prizes only unlock at max bet. Anything lower, and the machine simply doesn't give you access to the jackpots you see on the screen. You're chasing numbers you can't actually win. And even if you do bet max, Lightning Link's structure is brutal. The game has long stretches where nothing significant lands. Dozens of dead spins in a row, followed by tiny features that barely return a fraction of what you put in. It's engineered to feel like a hot machine because the hold and spin bonus triggers fairly often, but those bonuses usually pay far less than players expect. It's just enough action to keep you hopeful, but not enough to keep your balance from collapsing. What makes Lightning Link especially dangerous for older players is the social pressure the machine naturally creates. When you sit at a popular cabinet, you see others around you hitting features, triggering bonuses, getting mini jackpots. It pushes you to increase your bet just to stay competitive, even though the math is stacked sharply against you. The truth is simple. Lightning Link rewards big bets but punishes them twice as hard with massive volatility. Unless you're prepared for rapid losses in a roller coaster bankroll curve, this machine can empty your wallet long before you see anything worth celebrating. If you want something stable, Lightning Link is the last place you should sit. The machine looks exciting, but the numbers behind it don't lie. This game takes far more than it gives. Machine number 4, Tiki Fire. Tiki Fire looks like the kind of cheerful slot you'd play to relax. Bright colors, upbeat tropical sounds, friendly animations. But beneath that sunny exterior is one of the most effective psychological tricks in modern slot design. The loss disguised as a win, or LDW. On Tiki Fire, it happens constantly. You bet $1, get back 50 or 60 cents, and the game reacts like you just scored something amazing. Flashing lights, upbeat jingles, celebratory graphics, all triggered even though your balance just went down. It's not an accident. LDWs are engineered to make your brain register excitement, not loss. Gambling researchers have studied this effect for years. Those sound effects and animations activate the same reward pathways as an actual win, which tricks players into believing the machine is feeling good, or playing nicely, even while it's quietly draining the bankroll. And Tiki Fire leans on this mechanic heavily, sometimes more often than it gives real wins. The danger is subtle. After a long session, you might think you're breaking even because the machine celebrated so many spins. But if you check your credit meter, the truth hits fast. Most of those wins were actually losses wrapped in glitter. That's what makes Tiki Fire especially risky. It doesn't hurt you with huge losing streaks. It hurts you with a steady stream of fake wins that keep you spinning longer than you plan. If you want to protect your bankroll, use one simple rule. Only count a spin as a win if it pays more than your bet. Everything else is noise designed to keep you at the machine. Tiki Fire isn't the most dangerous slot because of its payout math. It's dangerous because it manipulates how you feel about losing. Machine number 5, Megabucks. Megabucks is the kind of slot people treat like a legend. You see crowds taking pictures near it, talking about that one guy who won big, and dreaming about life-changing jackpots. But behind the hype is one of the harshest mathematical realities on any casino floor. A game built around odds so brutal most players would never sit down if they actually understood them. Here's the number that matters. Your chance of hitting the Megabucks jackpot is roughly 1 in 50 million. Not 1 in a million, 50. The kind of probability closer to getting struck by lightning than winning on purpose. And the machine's structure isn't doing you any favors either. Only a tiny fraction of every dollar you wager, somewhere between 0.1% and 0.3%, actually goes into that giant progressive prize pool. The rest stays with the house. The jackpot looks huge because it grows slowly over thousands of players spinning for months, not because the machine is generous. Megabucks also feeds on emotion, the display, the sound design, the way the numbers keep rising. Everything pushes the idea that one lucky moment is around the corner. But in reality, Megabucks jackpots hit so infrequently that entire casino staff rotations can pass without a single payout. It's not a big win waiting to happen. It's a long-shot lottery disguised as a slot machine. Older players are especially at risk here. They often sit down looking for excitement or hope, thinking, if someone wins today, it could be me. But each spin is just another entry into nearly impossible odds, and the bankroll loss adds up far faster than any meaningful winning momentum. Megabucks isn't unfair. It's just brutally honest math wrapped in exciting visuals. If your goal is to stretch your playtime, enjoy your budget, or stay in control, this is one of the worst machines you could choose. A few people will hit the jackpot, but millions will fund it. Machine number 6, Quick Hit. Quick Hit is one of those machines that looks straightforward. Simple symbols, familiar branding, and the promise of big multipliers splashed across the screen. But the real catch is buried deep in the rules, in a part most players never read closely. The top payouts only trigger under precise, extremely rare symbol formations. On almost every version of Quick Hit, getting the required number of special symbols anywhere on the reels is not enough. The highest prizes demand that those symbols land in a perfectly aligned cluster, stacked, adjacent, and positioned exactly as the machine dictates. Miss the formation by even one reel, and the payout collapses from jackpot to basically nothing. The visuals make it look easy. You'll often see several quick hit icons on the early reels, giving you that rush of anticipation. But that's intentional. Manufacturer math sheets confirm that the reels where players naturally focus, the leftmost reels, contain more of these symbols. Meanwhile, the reels that finish the combo, especially the last one, are deliberately weighted with far fewer. It creates a pattern that feels promising, but is mathematically stacked against you. This design keeps players chasing a setup that almost never materializes. You keep seeing close calls and assume the machine is heating up, when in reality the most valuable outcome is locked behind probability walls you're not meant to beat. If you want to play quick hit at all, look closely at the payable. If you see wording like stacked, adjacent, or same real group required, understand what it really means. The top prizes are largely illusions, technically possible, but engineered to stay out of reach. Quick hit isn't dangerous because it's volatile. It's dangerous because it shows you just enough excitement to make you believe a massive payout is right around the corner when the math says otherwise. Machine number 7, 88 Fortunes. 88 Fortunes is everywhere. It's one of the most common penny slots in major casinos. Walk through any busy aisle, anywhere near the buffet, the restrooms, or the main entrance, and odds are you'll see entire rows of this machine lighting up the walkway. And that placement alone should raise a red flag. The appeal seems harmless. Bright red graphics, Chinese-themed symbols, upbeat sounds, and a penny per line minimum bet that looks budget-friendly. But that penny label is exactly what makes this machine so dangerous. The penny version of 88 Fortunes is almost always configured at the lowest available RTP, often around 88%. That means for every $100 played, the machine keeps roughly $12. Far worse than many dollar or quarter slots just a few feet away. Casinos know this. They deliberately position 88 Fortunes where casual players, seniors, and tourists walk by most often. The people most likely to sit down for a quick spin. Most of these players never check RTP settings, never compare denominations, and trust the bright theme more than the math behind it. The trick is that 88 Fortunes only looks cheap. With 40, 50, or more lines active by default, even a penny can turn into 88 cents or $1.76 per spin without players even realizing it. Combine that with a low return percentage and a highly repetitive base game, and your bankroll drains much faster than you expect. If you're going to play 88 Fortunes at all, there's only one safer approach. Move to the higher denomination version. The nickel, dime, or quarter cabinets are often set closer to 93 to 94% RTP. Same game, same theme, far better odds. But the penny version? It earns its spot on this list by being one of the most deceptively expensive cheap machines in the entire casino. Machine number 8, Wheel of Fortune. Wheel of Fortune is one of the most recognizable slots ever made. The spinning wheel, the sound effects, the giant jackpot slice that everyone dreams of hitting. And that familiarity is exactly why so many players walk straight into the trap this machine sets. The biggest misunderstanding is simple. The wheel bonus. The entire reason people play this slot is locked behind a max bet requirement. If you're not betting max, the machine will happily take your money while never giving you a chance at the feature you came for. The reels can look promising, the symbols can line up perfectly, but the wheel stays cold unless you're paying full price. Casinos know this rule is easy to overlook. They bury it in the pay table, not on the screen where it matters. Meanwhile, the branding carries all the weight. Big colors, iconic fonts, and the nostalgia of the TV show. It makes players feel like the machine is generous or fair, when in reality you're paying extra just to qualify for the real game. Placement makes it even trickier. Floor managers position Wheel of Fortune machines right along busy walkways, near escalators, or directly across from the cashier cage, anywhere crowds constantly pass by. The goal is psychological. If people see someone hit a bonus or celebrate a spin, it reinforces the illusion that the machine is hot. But here's the truth. Wheel of Fortune isn't designed to give you frequent features. It's designed to make you chase them. And unless you're betting max, you're not even in the race. If you want something steady or budget-friendly, this machine is the opposite. Wheel of Fortune takes big bets, long sessions, and steady losses just to give you a shot at spinning the wheel. And even when the feature triggers, the outcomes lean heavily toward the lowest wedges. If you're not ready to play max bet, walking past this machine is the smartest financial decision you can make. Machine number 9, Monopoly Millionaire. Monopoly Millionaire is one of those games people sit at because it feels familiar. The branding is nostalgic, the artwork is friendly, and everything about the machine screams fun instead of risk. But what most players never realize is that the Monopoly name itself is the biggest reason this slot consistently returns less money than non-branded games sitting just a few steps away. Branded slots come with licensing fees. Real costs, casinos and manufacturers have to pay to use well-known characters, logos, and themes. And those costs don't come out of thin air. They're built directly into the machine's payout math. That's why branded slots, including Monopoly Millionaire, routinely have RTP settings 1 to 3% lower than comparable non-branded titles. It doesn't sound like much, but that small difference compounds fast. Instead of a 90% return, you might be playing at 87% or 88% long-term payback. Over hundreds or thousands of spins, that gap drains a bankroll noticeably quicker, especially for older players who prefer longer sessions. What makes Monopoly Millionaire especially tricky is that it looks like a safe choice. The theme is welcoming, the bonus features seem exciting, and the whole presentation feels softer than other high-volatility machines. But beneath the charm, the math is heavier against you than the average penny or nickel slot on the same floor. If you enjoy the theme, that's fine. But from a value perspective, Monopoly Millionaire is one of the worst places to put your money. You're not paying for better odds or more entertainment. You're paying for the logo on the screen. Machine number 10, Megaway's high-variance slots. Megaway slots look exciting on the surface. Constantly changing reels, hundreds of thousands of possible ways to win, wild stacks, expanding rows, and bonus rounds that feel like they could explode at any moment. But behind all that chaos is a simple truth. Megaway's games are some of the most volatile machines ever put on a casino floor. The core mechanic is the problem. Because the number of symbols on each reel changes every spin, the game's pay table is built around brutal dry streaks. It's completely normal to go 30, 50, even 70 spins without anything meaningful hitting. And when something finally does land, the payout is often nowhere near enough to recover the damage from all those empty spins. That unpredictability is exactly why Megaways attracts thrill seekers. But it's also why it quietly destroys bankrolls for older or casual players who want stable entertainment instead of emotional whiplash. The bonus rounds can pay huge, sure, but the average bonus is far smaller than players expect, and the triggers are spaced far apart on purpose. Megaways also uses illusion hits. Wins that look big because of the huge number of paylines displayed, but in reality pay just a few cents more than the bet. With so much happening visually, it's easy to mistake noise for action and assume you're close to something big. If your goal is long, steady gameplay, Megaways is one of the worst places to sit. These machines offer big dreams, but they demand constant risk and deep bankrolls just to survive long enough to see the game's best features. In simple terms, Megaway slots aren't designed to pay often. They're designed to keep you chasing the rare times they do. Machine number 11, Cash Eruption. Cash Eruption has built a strange reputation, not because of its math, but because of the rumors swirling around it. Online forums, TikTok clips, and insider posts love to claim this machine is secretly rigged, manipulated, or programmed to punish regulars. But once you strip away the noise, the truth is far less dramatic and far more important for players who want to keep their bankroll intact. The first thing to understand, no slot on a regulated floor can run hidden cheat code. Cash Eruption, like every other machine approved in Nevada or New Jersey, must pass strict lab testing before it ever lands in a casino. If the game had any illegal manipulation, regulators would shut it down instantly. Manufacturers can't risk their entire business over one title. The real issue with Cash Eruption isn't secret programming. It's player misunderstanding. The machine's bonus structure and line payouts look straightforward, but the game is built on a high-hit, low-return model. Lots of small events that keep you spinning without giving you a real sense of how much you're losing. It's easy to think the game feels cold, or they tightened it, when in reality you're just experiencing the normal volatility the designers intended. And here's where the rumors get dangerous. If you chase features because you believe the machine owes you something, you'll bleed money faster than on many other modern slots. Cash Eruption doesn't build momentum, doesn't heat up, and doesn't reward long sessions. It simply runs its math, spin by spin, exactly as certified. If you really want to know how fair a machine is, don't rely on viral posts or dramatic stories. Check the payable, check the denomination, and if you're curious, you can even look up the game's approval file through state regulators. It's all public. Most of the fear around Cash Eruption comes from misunderstanding, but misunderstanding doesn't make the machine safer. It just makes losses feel more personal. Machine number 12, Double Diamond Progressive. Double Diamond Progressive is one of those machines that feels safe the moment you see it. 3 reels, simple bars and sevens, a clean layout, the kind of slot older players trust because it reminds them of the old Vegas days. But that nostalgia is exactly why this machine is so dangerous. The math hiding behind the retro exterior is far tighter than most players ever realize. Double Diamond Progressive is one of those machines that feels safe the moment you see it. 3 reels, simple bars and sevens, a clean layout, the kind of slot older players trust because it reminds them of the old Vegas days. But that nostalgia is exactly why this machine is so dangerous. The math hiding behind the retro exterior is far tighter than most players ever realize. While video slots usually advertise features and bonuses, Double Diamond Progressive keeps everything quiet, including the RTP, which can drop to the 88 to 92% range depending on the casino's configuration. That's significantly worse than many modern games, yet most players never question it because the machine looks honest. Casinos take full advantage of this perception. They place these progressives along side aisles, in back rows, or around quieter corners where regulars tend to sit. Players who prefer simple games often walk right to them, believing older machines pay better. But behind the familiar symbols, the progressive setup eats a chunk of every bet, dragging the long-term return far below expectations. The danger isn't volatility. Double Diamond doesn't pretend to be high risk. The danger is invisibility. You don't see the poor RTP. You don't see how much of each wager funds the progressive pool. You don't realize how rare the top payouts are because the machine offers no flashy bonuses or dramatic animations to highlight your losses. It's quiet, steady, and draining. If you want a classic-style experience, look for non-progressive versions of these old 3-reel slots or higher denomination cabinets, which often offer noticeably better odds. But the progressive variant? It's nostalgia wrapped around a house edge that's far sharper than it appears. Machine number 13, Hidden Reel Strip Weighting. Most players assume what they see on the screen is what they get. 3 symbols away from a jackpot? Looks close. The bonus icon just missed? Must have been almost there. But hidden beneath the animations is one of the most misunderstood mechanics in all of slot design. Virtual reel strip weighting. On many modern machines, the reels you see spinning aren't the real reels at all. They're just a visual representation sitting on top of a much longer, invisible virtual reel, often containing dozens of extra positions you never see. And on that virtual strip, the symbols that matter most, jackpots, bonuses, top payouts, may appear one single time among 40 or 50 stops. Lower value symbols appear far more often, creating a huge imbalance between what feels likely and what actually is. This is why so many spins look one symbol away from something big. The machine presents the outcome in a way that feels dramatic, but your actual odds never changed. What looks like a near hit might not have been mathematically close at all. It's just how the software chose to display the result after the RNG made its decision. Manufacturers document all of this in the math sheets they file with regulators, but none of that information appears on the casino floor. Players only see the bright reels, not the hidden weighting behind them. And casinos aren't exactly rushing to educate anyone about how virtual strips work. Hidden reel strips don't cheat you. They just tilt the probability so far toward low-paying outcomes that the game always feels more promising than it is. The illusion is the point. The machine keeps you believing you're close, even when the math says you're nowhere near. If you really want to understand your odds on any modern video slot, don't trust your eyes. Trust the documentation, or accept that what you see is only the surface of a much deeper design. Machine number 14, Buffalo Gold Penny Edition. Buffalo Gold Penny Edition is one of the busiest machines in almost every casino. Constant noise, constant players, constant movement. And that's exactly why most people never notice just how punishing the penny version really is. The biggest issue is the RTP, which is typically set to the lowest legal option, around 88%. That means you lose about $12 for every $100 wagered long-term, and it adds up faster than players expect. But the bigger trap is the bonus round. On the penny setup, internal math summaries and tech reports confirm the feature triggers only about 2.7% of the time. That's extremely rare for a game where the bonus is supposed to be the main attraction. Yet Buffalo Gold always feels like it's close to hitting. The sound design, the near-miss animations, and the constant almost patterns keep players convinced a big moment is around the corner. But the machine isn't heating up. It's just running its normal cycle. Higher denomination versions, nickels, dimes, quarters, offer better returns and noticeably more frequent features. But the penny edition is a slow drain that hides behind familiarity and nonstop excitement on the screen. It's one of the easiest machines to sit down at and one of the hardest to come out ahead on. Machine number 15, Tito system, ticket in, ticket out. Tito isn't a slot, but it affects every slot player. The ticket in, ticket out system replaced coins years ago, promising convenience. Clean hands, no jams, quick cash outs. But the system has its own set of problems that quietly cost players money, especially during busy hours. The most common issue is simple: misreads. A $100 ticket suddenly scans as $10, or a kiosk spits out an error because the barcode didn't read perfectly. When casinos are packed, guests often accept the machine's result without double-checking, and unresolved misreads pile up in complaint logs more often than you'd expect. Then there's the leftover cents problem. Tito kiosks frequently print a second voucher for coins when the machine can't pay the exact amount. Players in a rush leave those behind constantly, small amounts that stack up over time. Lost tickets, unclaimed balances, rejected vouchers, it all adds up. The safest habit is painfully simple. Always check the ticket value before walking away from the slot. If a kiosk rejects your voucher, skip the retry and go straight to the cash cage. Humans make far fewer mistakes than scanners. Tito is convenient, yes, but convenience can be costly if you're not paying attention. At the end of the day, every machine on this list earns its place for the same reason. It gives you far less value than it pretends to. Whether it's fake wins, hidden odds, brutal volatility, or features locked behind max bets, these games are built to take more than they ever give back. If you learned something new today, hit like, leave a comment, and share this video with someone who deserves a fair shot on the casino floor. Stay smart, stay disciplined, and gamble responsibly.